agenda briefing for April 18th. Are we ready to recess the Wayne County Board of Commissioners?
This is recess the Board of Commissioners, and we have to wait till 8:30
Okay.
to reconvene the Board of Equalization. We'll go ahead. Of course, call to order Chairwoman Barbara Aycock. Invocation is Commissioner Bevan Foster. Pledge of Allegiance, Vice Chairman Chris Gurley. And then we have the approval of the minutes. Discussion and adjustment of the agenda. I don't think we have any adjustments at this time. Then we move into special presentations. Item number 2, motion to approve the 2023 May is Mental Health Month proclamation. Mrs. Emily Peacock will be here to read that again, as she does every year. Number 3 is a motion to approve National Volunteer Appreciation Week in Wayne County, and Sherry Archibald and is it Pilar Parks of the United Way will be here both to read that. Number 4 is the National Library Week proclamation and update on Wayne County Public Library by Donna Phillips and Megan Wilson. Number 5 is an update on Wayne Community College by Dr. Patricia Pfeiffer and Tiffany Creech, Director of Grants, Development, and Management. Moving on to the second page, to number 6, there was a presentation of the annual Juvenile Crime Prevention Council's budget and information on opioid addiction programs by JCPC Chairman Dustin Pittman. And then number 7 is an update on the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization and the HMGP Hazard Mitigation Grant projects by Project Manager David Harris. And then we move on to unfinished business. And unfinished business will take us to approve a 3-party contract growing rural economies with access to technology. Great grant. This is the GREAT grant program between North Carolina Department of Information Technology, Infinity Link, FiberNet LLC, and the County of Wayne. I think, Andrew, you want to say a few words on that? I don't think we have an actual agreement from them.
Good morning. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we approved the county match agreement, and that was an agreement between Infinity Link and Wayne County about how we would be paying our portion of this grant. We are still waiting on the 3-party GREAT grant agreement, and that's between the North Carolina Department of Information Technology, Wayne County, and then the ISP Infinity Net. We were told that we would have that by today in order to get that on the agenda. We followed up last week, and those have not been distributed by the state. The deadline for approval is May 4th. So we could still remove this from the agenda today if you want, and then set it for the May 2nd meeting, or excuse me, May 3rd meeting. Second, excuse me. Dates are running together. So that'd be the May 2nd meeting, and then we could approve it then. The other option is, and that's if you actually wanted to view what was in the contract and review it before approval. Always the other option is you could keep it on today's agenda and approve it subject to county attorney approval, as long as Mr. Parker and I review
I
it.
think that's the best thing to do, so we can keep moving forward, because this thing been dragged out long enough.
Absolutely.
But I will say, I've seen the template that the state has put out. I don't see any problems with it. The main thing was the match agreement, which you all have reviewed and you approved the terms. Most of the other stuff is just going to be more or less boilerplate language from the state of North Carolina that they're going to require as part of the grant agreement. So if you want to leave it on today, I would add subject to county attorney approval
Gotcha.
to the action.
I'll be glad to do that.
And we already have a budget amendment for that? Okay, so we wouldn't need that.
Thank you, Andrew. All righty. Moving along into our consent agenda, we get into late applications for present use. There's 4 of those. You can see those scrolling across your screen. Take a moment to take a look.
You can keep the blank thing up.
Haley, can we have it on the screen too, please? Thank you.
It's just one, right?
There's 4 of them,
Four, okay.
2 by the same owner.
I ain't got the one.
Tax
Oh, well,
officers
never mind.
review
So they're
all
individual.
this.
I see, okay. They're individual ones. I got it.
Why can't they be flashed on our big screen?
That's what they're doing right now.
I'm working on it.
She's trying to get it.
That was my fault.
While she's working on that, Madam Chair, going back over here to this presentation by Dustin Pittman, Chip, have you had a conversation with him
I
on
have.
what his request is going to be?
No, sir, I have not.
Do what now?
I have not.
I have. I sat in the meeting, and it was based on them needing additional funding they didn't have to follow up with the programs that are needed. So I think that is definitely needed.
So he's been making that request today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe it's about $83,000. I think he might have talked to some of the county attorneys.
You want me to?
You sure?
I did talk to Mr. Pittman. He wanted to come, he usually comes each year to present the JCPC budget, which he's going to do. He reached out because they had 2 programs that they wanted additional funding for, and he wanted me to take a look at those. After reviewing those with him, those would qualify for opioid settlement funds, and I made that I informed him of that and gave him some background information on that. So my understanding is that they're going to try to pursue a request for opioid settlement funds to fund those two additional programs. They're early intervention programs, and I think he's got some more information on those today. But they would qualify for your settlement funds.
But they would go before.
The working group,
Right,
mhm.
gotcha.
That proposal would go to the working group.
That's
and
nothing we
then-
do today then, okay, got it.
That's my understanding. He's just going to submit it to our opioid working group, and then we can start that process.
Has that working group met yet?
Not yet.
Yes, it's there. Thank you.
Keep it, keep it rolling too. Okay. All righty, moving on to the next item, number 13, is the budget amendments, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Spain.
Hey, enlarge that a little bit, Cal, if you don't mind. Well, maybe a little bit more. That's better.
Okay, your first budget amendment is for the North Carolina courts. This is a state grant for the court pilot program. This is the second installment, year 2 of 2, we were part of a pilot court program that received $230,000 each year. This is the last fiscal year, and I believe they've received notice that they will not be renewing those fundings. So they have requested some budget amendments through the state, and the state approves that. And this budget amendment you have before you reflects those changes they requested of the state that were approved.
So all of these expenditures have been approved by the state?
Yes, sir. Okay. Your next budget amendment is for court facilities. totaling $14,689.59. This is to reallocate funds from non-capital to capital. This will be used to purchase audio system speakers that have failed in courtroom number 1. Have budget amendment number 453 for the sheriff's office totaling $29,667.85. This is anticipating insurance monies for a couple of vehicle accidents and to appropriate monies for repairs and maintenance to those vehicles. Your next one is also for the sheriff's office for $45,645, requesting to reallocate from office supplies non-capital to capital. This is within the seized property funding, and this will be used to upfit a drug van with surveillance equipment. You have a budget amendment for EMS for $10,000, requesting to reallocate funds from medical supplies and vehicle supplies to service and maintenance contract. This is to appropriate additional funds for their linen services, and hopefully this will get them through the rest of the fiscal year.
And that's total how much?
$10,000.
But I mean, how much is that total for the
I
linen
will
service?
Look that up for you. Let's
Somewhere around
see.
70,000?
I can look real quick. Let's see.
They refurbish their linens, or do they go around use, or?
Yes, I thought they got a contract
Great
through
big,
the hospital with
great big laundry set that are not being used.
with a linen service that the hospital uses. They got barcodes on them and they roll through. And,
That's how they reuse it.
yeah, they got to clean this area.
No.
Right, they like the service.
Private
Yeah,
service.
right.
While she's looking that up, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Commissioner Hardison, during our budget meeting on this matter, it was brought to our attention that UNC in Johnson County, Smithfield, are providing linen to their EMS.
Kinston.
And Kinston, they're providing it
Nash.
at no charge.
Nash.
And I just wish that you, as a board member, would bring that up to the board and hopefully can address that.
Actually, we're working on that, Joe.
Well, great.
Yeah, we're working on it.
And I understand there's a third party, but kind of my thought on that is that we are taking our citizens to that hospital for a service that they are providing, and undoubtedly, to offset some of that, they should be providing that linen service.
Exactly.
They have in the past, but that changed, and so I'd appreciate you
Yeah, this
continue.
is an ongoing conversation we're having with the EMS director, the hospital, Dr. Tucker, CEO, and so on. We're all involved in, as well as some other matters that we'll go in closed session and talk about.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll talk about it, but did you get that figure?
I do. It's, with this $10,000, it's going to be $67,890.
We're right at 70.
So it keeps rising.
Give me that figure one more time, please.
$67,890. That's what we will have encumbered for the year for them.
Nash.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardison.
You're welcome.
Your next budget amendment is for services on aging totaling $1,746. This is to anticipate donations received this year and to be used within their various programs they have. You have a budget amendment for the solid waste department for $8,000. They are requesting to reallocate these funds from equipment rental to fees due to the state. And this is monies that we are required to pay for solid waste disposal, and they have had more tonnage this year, so we in turn are having to pay more to the state than what we originally anticipated. You have a budget amendment for the Jetport for $46,061. This is to anticipate additional revenues and expenditures for Avgas, and specifically, I believe the majority, if not all of this, is for the Wings Over Wayne Air Show, and the contract that we have with the base for that, for those 2 days. 2 or 3 days, however long it is. Your last budget amendment is for animal control for $20,000. This is to request reallocation from salaries and wages to overtime. They have had to use additional overtime beyond what was budgeted due to vacant positions, so they are trying to cover those through the rest of the fiscal year. And that is all I have for you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to number 14 is a motion to approve an amended and restated landfill gas purchase agreement between Wayne County and Tariva Wayne County RNG LLC. And I think Andrew has some information on that agreement.
Good morning again. This is, and I'll defer to Randy on the specifics here in a little bit because I don't know how it all works, but we're currently under contract with this company for, they take all our methane gas and other gases out at the landfill, and then we get a royalty off what they're doing. They're in the process of revamping their infrastructure out there, so they wanted to amend our current agreement. And basically, the way it works now is they're going to pay for all the improvements out there. We're not on the hook for any of that. They pay for all the hookups and everything to our site. They pay us a monthly rental fee, which would be $500, and then we get a 3.5% royalty off of everything that's out there. So that's the basic terms of the contract. I'll let Randy explain the specifics about how it works.
We've had a good experience working with Tariva. Methane Power was the first company to come in and start generating power from the methane gas back in 2010. It's since been sold 3 times. Tariva has bought the interest into that. They're going to go away from generating electricity to selling this landfill gas directly to Piedmont Natural Gas. A little more lucrative for them. It's going to help us out. We do get royalties off our landfill gas, but the positive is we don't have any infrastructure to be responsible for construction and upkeep. That's the big benefit for the solid waste department. They do all new well installations, vacuum pumps, all that they repair and maintain. So that's always been a good partnership with, working with them. So we feel really good about it.
Did they ever give you an idea how much that would be invested?
It's going to be several $1 million because they got to put a bunch of new wells in. There's a big part of our landfill mass that's not being poured off of the gas.
Right.
It's going to increase our flow, and that's be able to sell more gas, make more revenue. So it'll be a positive for that.
So we got no maintenance whatsoever on the life of the system.
Right.
So that's a positive for everybody.
Our goal is to keep our Title V air quality permit in the regulatory requirements to destroy the gas. That's what we're looking at as far as the landfill.
Right.
Any benefit we get off that's just, best for us.
Brandon, do we have any idea how much that royalty is that we receive?
Right now, we're doing about $50,000 a year,
Okay.
but we feel like that's going to be a little more. That's average. It depends on how much gas is produced.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Randy. All righty. Any other questions on that? Any questions? All right, there being none, we'll move on to number 15 is approval of updates to our purchasing manual. I think Ms. Noel Woods is here to go over that and give you some information.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have been updating our purchasing policy. We are coming to you today. Our threshold for purchase orders is $2,500. Right now, we require 3 quotes for those $2,500, and all other departments, we require 3 bids for, if they spend $1,000 or more, up to $2,500, we require them to get 3 bids. But we'd like to take that away and also move the threshold up for purchase orders to $5,000. The reason we're doing that is because with the economy the way it is right now, everything has gone up. Also, with the lack of employment out there, we're struggling to be able to get those 3 quotes. So we would ask that if we could move the threshold up for purchase orders to $5,000, we require them to get 3 bids for those $5,000, and we would change that in our purchasing policy. The second thing that we're changing today is we're just updating our policies and procedures as far as our software. We moved from GEMS to Munis, and we're just updating our procedures as far as how they go about going into Munis. So that's really just for our employees.
Madam Chair. Are surrounding counties in that threshold of 5,000 or 10,000, or where are they?
The counties our size are between $25,000 to $5,000. And I've seen on the listserv, a lot of them are asking this, are putting it out there because they're looking at moving up as well.
So that I understand, you're saying that if any department is needing any services or any equipment or whatever that is $5,000 or more, they have to get 3 bids.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Has this been communicated to the department heads?
Not yet. We wanted to come to you first to ask for permission, and then if you agree to do it today, then we will send something out to all departments, and I'm sure they will be doing backflips.
I'm sure they will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Noel.
You heard it first, right? And Alan.
All righty, moving along to number 16 is a motion to approve the final plat for Myra Branch subdivision, section 3.
Problem is Randy can't buy a whole lot for $5,000 in the
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
This is a final plat for Myra Branch. It is phase 3. And with it being a final plat, all the improvements are in and complete. There are 15 lots with this subdivision on a little more than 8 acres. The location is off of South Beston Road. As you head down 70, turn right on South Beston Road, you go down a ways. It'll be on the left right across from Walnut Point subdivision, if you're familiar with that area. There are already some existing road front lots and a couple of phases there along the road frontage, and this will connect in behind those lots with this new phase. Average lot size is about almost 20,000 square feet. Since this is a public street, we do have a letter from DOT stating that the roads have been built to DOT standards. And it did go to Planning Board for recommendation, and they do recommend approval for this subdivision. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
More residents in your district.
Exactly.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
All righty, moving along to number 17 is a motion to approve the school resource officer contract with the Wayne County Board of Education fiscal year 2024-25.
This is, if you recall, the last time we executed our SRO contract with the school board, it was a 2-year cycle, and so it's up for renewal.
Thank you.
It's up for renewal, so this is another 2-year contract. It mirrors the same agreement that we were in. There were some changes to the assignments, and I pulled that section up right here. I think that If I remember right, I believe that there was maybe a roaming officer at Edgewood Community Developmental School. That was the only change, but for the most part, this tracks what we had in place.
So does this put a officer at every single school?
I believe every school or roamer at every school except for Goldsboro High.
So the rope
City of Goldsboro has Goldsboro High.
And I questioned the other day about the funding,
I always try to do this off memory, so what's our split with there's a grant amount and then there's a county amount?
Yes, I think the grant amount is $709,756. And then we receive about 50-some thousand from central office for that particular officer. The schools pay for that out of their budget. The 709 may be including the 50.
It might. And then we cover the rest.
Right.
and it ends up costing us,
About double that, because.
About 1.5.
Right.
so we pay about $750-ish.
And really,
schools.
our cost goes up each year because that grant amount has not changed in the last several years.
All right, that's what I'm getting at. They're
Yes, sir.
supposed to have passed, and I want on memory too, somewhere around $7 million for school resource.
I reached out to Dr. Harrell about that because I reviewed the House budget that has been proposed and I didn't see anything in there. And I reached out to Dr. Harrell. He was not aware of any
Okay.
allocations. So I don't know if that's going to be in the Senate budget or if that's another bill that we're just not familiar with.
Okay. I reached out to Senator Perry, and he said it should be in DPI.
Okay.
So we're just checking. If it's not, then I need to call him back so he can follow up. Thanks, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But the purpose of that is to try to get a school resource officer in every single school and take out the roaming part.
Right.
Mr. Manager,
Yes, sir.
at some point, I'd like for the sheriff or whoever's in charge of the school resource officers to come up here and give us a report exactly what the duties of the school resource officers are. I mean, are they just standing there? I want to know what their duties are when they're at school.
Okay.
That's an excellent point, Commissioner. I had the same concerns, want to know what they did, and also if there was, other things that the SROs may need in the future. Because I actually went to a conference and I saw that there were other things that schools were using that would help the SROs. So I'd like to hear what they have to say as well.
And also, these school resource officers, male or female, I don't know whether we got any female resource officers or not, but they're a vital part of that school because in a lot of cases, they're father figures or mother figures to those students. And, I'd like to get a report on what they're doing and, and if they're doing a fantastic job, at least give them a pat on the back.
Well, I can speak from.
Would the next meeting be fine for that?
Be fine.
Okay.
I can speak from a parent perspective at Eastern Wayne Middle School last year. Jay Sasser was the school resource officer, and he's moved, I think, to Grantham now, which is closer to his home. But I can tell you, he made a difference in that school for a lot of children. Of course, if any of you know Jay, he can talk to anybody. And there was several that kind of shied away from him because he was the police. He was the law enforcement. And he kept on, interjecting with them. And within 3 weeks, they were in a conversation. And what Commissioner Aycock just said, that is they're a vital part of our school system because a lot of times they are, the role model per se. And Jay done a great job improving that at Eastern Wayne Middle School. So, and I'm sure there's others, but that's just the personal thing that I know of.
Right. We'll make arrangements to get them in at our next meeting. We sure will. It's 8:30, so it'll be time to recess this and open our Board of Equalization.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Recess our Board of Commissioner meeting and reconvene our Board of Equalization and Review. And I think we have one commissioner that needs to be, yeah.
If you would like, or I can just hand it to you, whatever you would prefer. Do you want to walk over to the podium, or are you good right here?
I'm good right here.
Okay. If you will, whenever I say I, if you'll state your name. I
Philip Larson, Jr.
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Equalization and Review of Wayne County, North Carolina, and that I will not allow my actions as a member of the Board of Equalization and Review to be influenced by my personal or political friendships or obligations, so help me God. Thank you.
Alan?
We're asking for your report.
Good morning. Hope you all are doing well. This is pretty much a follow-up from our last meeting when we opened up the Board of E&R. My report today is we still have just one appeal pending right now. We're still working on that one. When we get through with that appeal, we will send a response back to the appellant. And if they wish to be heard, you can hear those in the future date as the Board of Commissioners. But today, or during this Board of E&R, that basically stops the time period for appeals for this year, so we can get our budget right and move forward with that. And we have nobody here to appear for you today unless somebody's here to appeal today.
No appeals? All right. Is that all, Alan?
That's all. You have any questions?
All right. We will adjourn the Board of Equalization and Review.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we will reconvene our Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting for April 18th.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Back to item number 18 is a motion to approve a lease agreement with the Pikeville Pleasant Grove Volunteer Fire Department for the Wayne County Sheriff's Office Mobile Command Center. That is a temporary lease that we are filling so they can store this mobile command center at Pikeville Pleasant Grove until we can get our own storage solution constructed at our 117 North campus. The height of the vehicle is the main reason we're having to go to this facility. It requires a 14-foot door. So I'm asking that be approved. Is there any questions on that?
Both parties are in agreement. I know at one time there was some discussion on a couple of different items, but I understand they have been worked out.
Yes, sir. As far as I know, they're agreeable.
And this is more of a chemical question. What's the time frame?
I'm not sure. I can come back and find out more. I've urged him to move it up and get it out to bid this year, even though the money's in next year's budget. We can go ahead and we're going to start the process of advertising it and get the bids on it. So
Okay.
shouldn't take too long.
Okay.
And I would also like to say kudos to Pikeville Fire Department, because there's been a couple of more locations than mentioned, but that's about as centrally located in the county that, for that piece of equipment. And, you know, what the county's got involved in, this building, this piece of equipment has got to be maintained inside of a building. And I understand that it has already been used one time on a call, and as far as I'm concerned, this is some of the most well-spent money that Wayne County has spent in a long time.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, it has been already used. I think that we're going to have it after our meeting downstairs on Ormond Street for you all to take a visit to it and look it over. Any other questions on 18? If not, we'll move to 19 as a motion to approve the minimum housing code enforcement agreement between Wayne County and the village of Walnut Creek. And this is, don't have any information on it, but Do you know a little bit about this?
Steve Stroud with Inspections reached out to me a couple weeks ago. The Village of Walnut Creek has a couple properties that do not meet their minimum housing code standards, and they want to move forward with condemning those properties. They do not have the staff in order to do that, so they wanted to contract with the county for Steve Stroud and his people in Inspections to provide those services. We do something very similar for Fremont. When Fremont needs assistance, we have an agreement in place with them as well. This mirrors that agreement. We did adjust the rates to reflect the current hourly rate of our employees should they provide those services. I believe it was $75 an hour, and that came from Inspections. And we are not responsible for providing any legal services as part of this. We just provide the inspections, and then if need be, they will go to court and testify and get, the county will get reimbursed for that time. So,
And they're within the Village of Walnut Creek.
within their jurisdiction, yes, sir. I'm not familiar with what properties they are, but I just know that they expressed the need for those services.
What can I say? I moved out of the neighborhood and went down the hill.
I think this was concerning a hedgerow that disappeared.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm trying to get that one. I'll talk to you later on that one.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew. And that was the last of the consent agenda. We move on to the county manager's report, Board of Commissioners committee reports. And then we go into closed session. We do have closed session today. And then we'll take a tour of the mobile command center and then adjourn the meeting from downstairs at the command center.
We have time to do the closed session now?
Yes, we can start for sure.
Okay, we are now in closed session.
Goodbye.